Hey, this is Cool Trains in Montreal, and I'm just showing off some of my Wisconsin Central um, rolling stock, locomotives, and boxcars, and other assorted freight cars. I really do like that Wisconsin Central paint scheme. It's a railroad that pretty much came into an existence after being part of the Sioux Line. It was rolled out in about 1988, I believe, and it was absorbed by the Canadian National in 2001. But in its years of operation, it had some very interesting equipment. It had some old hand-me-down Sioux Line locomotives and stuff like this. It went out and got some other secondhand stuff that I will show in a minute that are interesting. And yeah, I really liked it, and I was really happy when Canadian National took over the railroad, because at the time, and still, I am a really Canadian National fan. And this gave me a chance to run some of these locomotives along with Canadian National, because Canadian National was pretty slow to repaint these locomotives and these freight cars, and they still actually haven't. You'll still see them today as ghost cars in the Montreal area. Not so much the locomotives, but in the early 2000s, they were definitely kicking around in a consist of maybe 3-4 locomotives of Canadian National stripes and whatever. You would see one of these locomotives, maybe a GP40 or an SD40, SD45 rather. And these locomotives would probably have the Wisconsin Central name wiped out, but the yellow stripe there would still be there, and they were there for a long time before being repainted. So I believe some of these GP40s are still kicking around with Canadian National today, although repainted into the CN regular, the noodle and the white stripe and the red front. But for years, these were kicking around in this really nice paint scheme. This is probably one of the, I guess, iconic railroad paint schemes for regional railroads of the time of the 1980s. So these are Atlas locomotives, and in the back there's a lot of freight cars as well. I have a pretty decent collection of Wisconsin Central stuff. Why? Because Wisconsin Central was part of CN, and also because I really liked, I just really liked the lettering scheme, the way different freight cars were arranged in their different scripts and fonts, and this nice little shield logo. Again, it was one of these railroads that took some pride in what they were doing, or at least wanted to give that impression. So I have these locomotives, and I have something else to show in a moment. So here, yeah, I really like that, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to pick up one of the other locomotives that I have, and you'll see a very iconic locomotive. So this one is an F45. So the F45 was an ex-Burlington Northern locomotive. Burlington Northern actually picked these up, and I think Great Northern was the original company that ordered them. This is an F45 locomotive. There was also an FP45 that was slightly longer, and the Wisconsin Central actually had both types. But this one here that I have is an F45, and it's an Athearn model, and I'll run it for you in a moment. What I find very interesting, though, is if you look in the back here, see how the numbering, the 6654, they actually wrote the number over this little porthole. You would think that that was a mistake. I would have thought so anyways. I thought so for a while. Then I actually did some research, did a Google search, and this is exactly what the real railroad did. They, instead of actually spending the money to maybe paint out that porthole or remove it and put, like, say, a piece of metal or something there, no, they actually decided they were going to paint a number over the porthole. Yeah, weird. So actually that's not a mistake on the part of Athearn. That's actually what they really did. So that makes this model all the more a little weird, but it's a really neat model. So as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these models, these F40s, sorry, GP40s, and I'm going to put them over here, and then I'm going to put this one on the track, and we're going to run this. And then maybe we'll run the other ones together, just to have a trio of locomotives. So, let's see how this runs. Now, I've tested this to some extent, so it should run pretty well. So, let's see. I'm going to have it run slow. The slow speed should be pretty good. Slow it down a little bit so when it hits this car, it just connects with it. There, it actually connected with it. So now it'll be towing this little 2-bay hopper car, basically half of a PS2 CD Pullman standard car. That's what it looks like to me anyways. It's nice. It's one of those squarish cars. Yeah. Oh, it stopped. Look at that. Yeah, some of these low when you put it at slow speed, sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes it will slow down to the point where it'll stop. The track is fairly clean. I did clean it using alcohol, so. And I did break in the locomotive too. What I generally do is run them up and down here at a high speed, and then slow it down, and slow it down to the point where it's a little bit broken in. What I don't want is to have the locomotive stall, and definitely what I don't want is to have it stall and then don't do anything about it because it'll seize up. I had a locomotive actually do that to me one time. I went off and did something else, came back, and it had frozen up, and it killed the motor. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. But when I was a kid, I actually broke a locomotive that way. So won't be doing that again. Really do like those lightning stripe unit. Probably the only type of unit that had that stripe on it, that lightning stripe. And it's just so interesting. Yeah, this is probably the nicest paint scheme that these F45 units actually had. Now, these F45 units didn't last into the CN era. CN obviously wanted to get rid of them. They were not standard. And yeah, look at that. It kind of stalls a little bit there. Huh. They were not standard units. And they were probably not in the best condition either. They were kind of hand-me-down units. So by the time they got down to Wisconsin Central, they were nice. They were nice, picturesque kind of units that they were probably being used more for executive trains than anything really. But they look really great. I like that stripe. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to put those other locomotives on, or at least one of them, and we're going to get 2 units at least running. So let's see what I can get here. Turn it around. Put it on quickly. There we go. So what we have is the F40. Sorry, not F40, the GP40 and the F45. Actually, I hadn't tested these 2 units running together, so I don't know how synchronized they're going to be right now. But I'm going to give it a little juice. And I think they're going to run okay. At least for this little demonstration. Yeah, they look great. Yeah, so you will actually still see ghost WC Wisconsin Central boxcars and hopper cars and whatever else running around in the Montreal area. In some of the train videos that I've taken, you'll see them. You can't actually miss them, as they were never repainted by CN. And maybe there's the reporting marks will now say CN or CNA. But yeah, they're graffitied up a lot too. But yeah, you'll still see the underlying beauty of the Wisconsin Central logos and everything like that. I really like it. So I'd like to thank you for watching. And as always, if you enjoy what you see, please subscribe to Cool Trains in Montreal. Have a good day.